Engines roar on a moonlit stage, steel beasts roll a distant wage. Truckers' voices crying through the night, tales of speed and endless fights. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. All in dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways call our name. In this life, we find our fame. Neon lights and diner blues, truck stops where we share the news. Turning wheels in endless miles, stories fill the smoky aisles. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. All in dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways call our name. In this life, we find our fame. Neon lights and diner blues, truck stops where we share the news. Turning wheels and endless miles, stories fill the smoky aisles. Miles and miles, all our strength we give. All in dreams, we fight to live. Lonely highways.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. I hope that you've had a great day of trucking out there. And if you are trucking now and you listening to us, I hope that you are safe and you get to where you're going. We have had a good couple of weeks last week with the guests that we've had on the show. But it's time to get it started again this Thursday evening, okay? And we want to remind everybody that we broadcast live on Facebook, on Truckers Voices page, as well as Safety Drive for a Cure page, at Truckers Voices TV, all kind of platforms we're out there. And we're also on YouTube TV, YouTube, I'm not YouTube TV, but YouTube on our page. And we're also uploading the episodes to Spotify, also on Apple Podcasts and on iHeart. So if you're riding down the road and want to go back and listen to some stuff from previous times, and there's a lot of good podcasts out there. I think right now I've got like 59 of them uploaded that we've done over the years. So yeah, it can help you pass the time by and maybe give you some good tips. Want to thank Laura Cyrus for coming on last week with Truckers Against Trafficking. That was a great show, and we always want to highlight Human Trafficking Awareness Month in the month of January. But got a good guest lined up tonight, Miss Tamie Stuttle. She's going to come on here with us. She actually has her own podcast, but she is a professional driver also. And we are so glad to have her on here, and we want to hear her story, how she got into trucking, and who knows, she might just interview Steve and I on the reverse there. So you never know what's going to happen on Truckers Voices, because hey, no script, no questions that we just off the top of the head there. So anyway, it's glad to have y'all out here with us tonight. So I think it's about time to bring Steve in here, and we'll bring Steve on in here on his theme song. What's up there, Steve-O? How you doing there, brother?
Just riding dirty, baby. Just riding dirty.
You're riding dirty? You're riding dirty, huh?
I did spray the salt off my truck the other day, and that lasted about 2 days. And then yesterday I hit snow, and well, it's back to salty. But it's supposed to be raining tonight and tomorrow, so maybe it'll get some of it off. But hey, how you doing, Tim? How's everybody out there in podcast land, man? We all appreciate you, tuning in to us. And checking us out and everything. And Matt Simon, this one's for you, baby. Send me a text. Can you hear me better tonight? I think we got our modulation problem figured out. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, Steve's computer was wanting to do whatever it wanted to last week.
Exactly.
So
I flipped that switch, put that fire in that wire, but it didn't work. So
I got some pixelation going on my background screen here tonight. It looks like I'm half invisible there, Steve-O.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure enough.
But it'll be all right. We're going to work with it, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like that movie Ghost. You're there, but like that, I don't know. But man, I'm excited to get the show started, buddy. I'm getting excited to talk to her and find out her career, her life.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of tell everybody a little bit about Tamie. I started following her on TikTok, and I was following her through her what she does on a daily basis. And I said, you know what, I would love to have her on our show, and so we could hear her story sometime. And then of all things, she started her own podcast. I said, I really got to have her on my show now. So I reached out to her through a messaging, and I said, hey, let's do a double podcast there. And and so she finally called me back, and we got it all set up, and here we are, Steve-O.
Hey, sounds good to me. Like you said in the beginning, we might get interviewed. You never know.
She may turn the tables on us tonight.
Exactly.
But y'all got to stay tuned with us. Stay tuned with us to the end. I know some of y'all come and go, but hey, try to stay tuned with us. We'll open up the phone line toward the end of the show. If y'all have any questions for Tamie, we'll be glad to take your calls there for sure. Steve, before we get into that, how was your day of trucking today?
It was good. It was good, man. I didn't have no trouble with my bills, no trouble with my trailers. Everything worked. Everything. Man, I got up there, and I want to say a big congratulations to my meat driver out of Pocono. He is retiring tomorrow. Today was the last day I got to meet him. 44 years in the industry.
Man, that's
24 with us, and then 20 prior to us.
Yeah.
But, Doug said, I'm ready, baby. I'm ready. And I was teasing him. He walked around the truck. I said, look, if you're coming over and tell me you're leaving me, I said, I don't even want to hear it. He said, now, look, if you're going to start dogging me, I'm leaving.
Oh, man. Well, we got another guy that we need to say congratulations to that has retired. Is Wayne Crowder.
Yes, sir.
I know Crowder had over 30-something years in with the company. So anyway, hey, that'll be you and I one day. We're getting closer. I'm looking at about 6 more years. I got like 31 in right now. And, hey, maybe 5 or 6 more years, I'm going to get out of here.
I got 28. Government says I can go out full in January 2035. So I got 10 years.
Yeah.
Good Lord willing, we'll be in good shape. But we got to get this out of the way.
Get that in.
The views expressed on this show are those of the host and the guest only and do not reflect those of others. So don't just take your lawyer off speed dial. It is what it is. Okay.
If you get offended by something that we say, sorry, we truckers, we left our feelings at the DMV there, right?
That's exactly right. You leave that feeling hanging on the post outside the door.
That's right. Well,
we're here to have a good time and learn about individuals and talk some serious stuff. So
absolutely. Well, we definitely have a champion within our midst of the trucking industry, and I'm excited to hear what she has to say. So let's bring her in here on our champions music there, Miss Tamie Stuttle.
Exactly.
Hey, and she can dance too there, Steve.
Right? Exactly. I think that's my first music intro I've ever had, so I'm feeling that vibe.
We do it a little bit different here.
We do a lot of firsts on this show, but hey, welcome to the show, Tamie. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's my honor to be here. I'm looking forward to having a lot of fun.
Well, welcome to Tim. This is Steve. I'm Tim, and this is Truckers Voices. And actually, we're on with Truckin' with Tamie also. So it is great to have you on here, Tamie, and we want to learn a little bit about you. And so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. tell us who you are and tell us what you do within the trucking industry that you can, and we'll just go from there.
Well, I am Tamie with IE. I am the host of the podcast Truckin with Tamie. I am also a company driver. I work for one of the largest private carriers out there, White Shirts. And I have been in the trucking industry. This is my 8th year, so I don't have that 28, 30-year experience like you guys do.
Yeah. So how many years did you say again?
This is starting year number 8 for me.
You're number 8. All right. So I always have to ask this, Tamie. Whenever you got started 8 years ago, now are you first generation trucker, or are you second generation trucker, or you got other family members in the trucking industry?
I broke the mold. I am first generation. I'm pretty sure my father would roll over in his grave right now if he knew I drove a semi. So definitely the first. First woman, first. I do have a second uncle somewhere that was a truck driver. But that's it.
Okay. All right. So let's go. All right. So from here, let's go backwards a little bit. So tell us what you did in your previous life before the trucking industry.
I was in the corporate world. I was in insurance. I owned 2 agencies. And so I did insurance and real estate from the late 90s all the way up till the mid 2016, I think was when I finally quit with insurance. I did a lot of HR and marketing. And then the kids all decided to grow up on me and leave the nest.
Yeah, absolutely, and that does happen for sure. And when you and let's bring it back. And so, how and why did you get into this great industry that we all love?
Midlife crisis. So I always say it was midlife crisis and empty nest syndrome. My kids graduated high school, the majority of them, and they started moving. So I had one son moved to California. I had another son that was going into the army, and I freaked out. And with a normal corporate sitting at your desk job, and you're trying to think, how am I going to make it work where I can travel to see the kids as much as I want, pay to travel, all these, still get that quality time, be a full-time mom, be a full-time worker. And my ex-husband actually came up with the idea, and he says, you love to travel, you love to drive, you always said if you were born a guy, you probably would have been a truck driver. He said, go for it. Go for it.
So I'm sure Steve's got a question here, but I got to ask this as a follow up there. So did you go to truck driving school, or did you kind of like I did? I kind of graduated myself through it, so to speak.
No, I definitely went to truck driving school. This is a girl who couldn't even back up a boat trailer at that time. So I went to Fox Valley Technical up in Appleton, Wisconsin, and it was a great program. My trainer, the guys, they got me well prepared for my life as a truck driver, not just with the basics, but as giving me a lot of support I needed to know what to expect, because I was coming from hills and briefcases. So, my expectations, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So.
Gotcha. All right. I'm going to come back to that, but I'm going to let Steve jump in there.
So did you come out of school and go to work for another carrier, or did you come out of school and go right to work for the private carrier?
So private carriers won't take you with no experience. So I started my career, and everybody who knows this, I went with Omega. And that was Warner. I was with Warner for quite a while, and I had a really good experience with them coming out. I was on multiple accounts with Warner. I started out, being trained with a mentor, as you know how that goes. When I was done, they were like, here you go. Here's the keys. Have at it. And I got in that truck and I went, I'm not ready.
Right.
And so I teamed with another driver for about another 4 weeks before I felt comfortable to go on my own. And then after that, that's all she wrote. It was pedal to the metal and woo.
So, speaking of the school there, what's your I
I
don't
have a
know.
lot of opinions, so watch how you word that one.
Yeah. What's your thoughts? How about that? What's your thoughts on the truck driving schools today? Do you think that they're pushing them out too fast, or do you think they need more training?
I think they're overpriced for the product that they deliver.
Okay.
And I don't know if you saw, I did an actual article on LinkedIn on this topic, and a whole podcast episode based on what these CDL driving mills is what they're considered. They have such a high output. They charge a ridiculous amount of money for the low amount of hours that these students are getting behind the wheel.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I think you would find that Steve and I both agree with that also, because we all see it out here on the highway day in and day out, and definitely need to be more training.
They have the wrong attitude. They really do. They train you to pass a test to get your CDL. And then their motto is they'll figure it out after that. Well,
that figuring it out after that normally involves lives.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I learn something new every day. From the smallest thing to the biggest thing, you learn something new every day. I'm a second generation truck driver. I got friends, family all over the country. And I've been told all my life, the day you think you know it all, take the big belt buckle and the boots off and throw them in the closet. Because you never know it all, And the main thing is just be safe. Just slow down. And I want to applaud you for asking for more training.
Yes.
A lot of people won't ask for that. They get embarrassed. They're like, I can't do that, And then next thing you know, you get out here and you get in trouble. Whatever it is, you get in trouble. So I applaud you for that. Thank you.
What I learned being a woman out here, and I don't know how it is for you guys, but everybody pays attention to how we do our job, and they critique us even more than you guys get, So I don't like to look foolish, and I don't like to look ill-prepared or like I'm not doing what I should be doing. So being prepared is very important.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And staying on that topic as far as being a woman in the trucking industry, what are some of the other hurdles that you face out here in this industry that is actually really dominated by males?
So one of the biggest problems that I personally have is restroom facilities. It is very inadequate for both male and female drivers. And I don't know how you guys have survived for as many years as you have with some of these facilities I have seen as shippers and receivers. Having said that, some of them don't even have facilities.
Right.
And you guys, and I've seen this many times, while it's not the best, you guys are able to go places that we aren't, to put it lightly. And we don't have that luxury. So that makes it a little bit harder for us out here in this industry, to be able to have restroom facility, especially if you are at somewhere that for longer than a couple hours, which we know happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Exactly.
So with some of the stuff that you do on a day in and day out basis, and going to some of the shippers and receivers, do you ever find it that some of them say, wow, I didn't know a woman could drive that truck, I'm sure. How long is your trailer?
53 foot.
Okay. Yeah. So do you have that wow factor sometimes that they look at you and it's like, wait, I didn't know a woman was driving that truck?
All the time. And then if you run into like a shipper or vendor where it's a female unloader and they're like, oh, wow, I don't see very many women, thank you for what you do, or it's awesome. And men are constantly amazed that a woman can not only drive it, but back it.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. And how many times, I'm sorry, Tim, how many times have you went in to pick up your load or deliver your load, and the individual behind the screen or the window or whatever looks at you and says, tell your husband to put it in door one?
Let me tell you the times I have heard Oh, your husband. And I don't know if you know this, but I had my own authority for a couple years. And so I got that a lot in every aspect, whether it's a mechanic, you're getting repairs done, if you're going to a shipper. It's amazing how people automatically assume that you are just the passenger princess.
Right. You're the one he sends in to get the bills and all that
Hmm.
stuff. Yeah, I just curious because I've heard it myself. I've
I
been
always,
standing there
I'm
when
always
people.
like, well, when you find me a husband, let me know, because the yard needs mowed at home.
Uh, that's
Oh,
when
good.
you tell him, well, he's out there cooking dinner.
Right. And I do say
I'll
that,
put it.
I am looking for somebody to meal prep for me. I need a wife, at home to mow the yard.
Exactly.
You guys are lucky.
Oh, hey, so I was thinking about this, and I'm often curious what people think the percentage of women are in the trucking industry, and we know because we try to highlight women in the industry on this show. Matter of fact, we've had Ellen Boya. She is the founder and creator of Women in Trucking, and we've had her
Mhm.
on the show here. And matter of fact, I would tell you she would be a good one to get on your show if you can ever get her on here. And if you
Yeah, I
would,
just had Desiree here a couple weeks ago, who's the president of Real Woman in Trucking,
yeah,
founder. So yeah, and which are those two same issues, but very different approaches.
correct, correct. But
Right.
yeah, so I think if the number was right that we got last, Steve, it was like 12% of our industry right now is made up of females. Is that right, or am I wrong?
Yeah,
Actually,
you're close. It
I
may be closer to 15% now,
that's
but
weird because I just pulled the study for August of 2024 and it said 9.5.
9.5. Okay.
Because I'm actually working on a segment right now. And the latest said 9.5, which I had heard it was higher too.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
very interesting where those percentages are coming from.
Right. Right. So, what are some of the things that you find enjoyable about in the trucking industry? What do you like about it?
I like the freedom. So trucking isn't just a job. A lot of people don't realize that if they haven't been a part of it, but it's a whole lifestyle. You don't just go in, clock in, and leave for the most part. Of course, there are those jobs that you do. I'm an over the road driver, so for me, it's a lifestyle. I like it. It's a network of people who, for the most part, have each other's backs. We're very supportive of each other. Of course, you have those in any industry that aren't, but for the most part, it's a very close knit family.
Yes.
Um, and I love that. You know, I love being able to visit different parts of the country. I've seen some beautiful, amazing views and things in my 8 years. I love it. But it's freedom for people like me who worked in an office for so many years, and you come out and you have this ability just to drive for miles and see, hey, can I get a load going to Florida? Or hey, can I get a load going to Wisconsin? Or hey, can I go to this area? And get to see that scenery while you're working and making money at the same time, I think is a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Steve.
And if you work it to your advantage, like I try to tell these young people that are looking at trucking, I said, when you get laid over somewhere for your 34-hour restart, I said, you've got this.
Mhm.
Search, see what's around the area, go visit, get an Uber, go get out of that truck and go see this beautiful country. You know, I spent 7 years running cross country before I come to LTL, been in LTL 28 years. I miss it sometimes, but sometimes I don't. More than not, I don't. I like coming home every day. But yeah, the places I got to visit, uh, you know, I got to go to Mardi Gras. Had to unload down there, laid over for the weekend during Mardi Gras. Got with some people that at the warehouse I delivered to. They showed me around town, showed me what Mardi Gras was about. Uh, Went down to the USS Alabama, took the tour down there in Mobile. Uh, Different places like that. I mean, just take advantage of it.
Mhm.
And you can relate to this. I mean, take off out of Skinny Road going towards Colorado through Kansas as the sun's going down, the beautiful sunset. There's nothing out there. You just turn the radio on, get your favorite tunes, and just enjoy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But then you got this time of year when you got a snowstorm.
Hey, I just came through Wyoming yesterday. I just got back today from a short road trip to California and back, and the snow went south. So I actually came up through 80 all the way across from California without snow, without
Wow.
wind.
Wow.
It was great. Amazing in January, but it was great.
Yeah. And I was thinking about, Wyoming and Montana and those states. I've actually had the privilege of doing some stuff with some of the other stuff that Steve and I do as far as, traveling across the country and all. Amazing at some of the sights that you can see out there, and that's one of the perks of this job that we have. But Tamie, tell us and bring us into your world as far as your podcasting world. Tell us what happened there, how you got it started, what put a desire in your heart to do what you do.
So anything I do 1,000%. And even with I'm sure you guys get this a lot with your experiences. We have a lot of people that come to us asking our advice about different things. And anybody who knows me or has met me in day-to-day trucking life will tell you that I do my best to be knowledgeable. So I have a lot of people that come to me with questions. Hey, do you know anything about this? Do you know about that? And I had people say, hey, you need to start making videos and putting, the correct information out there. And I was like, nah, that's not my thing. I mean, you want to call me, we'll chit chat, but I have no desire to be on video. And then I discovered TikTok. And, I was not a front and center girl. Before TikTok. Over the years in COVID, and I developed a comfort level with TikTok, and I love to write. And that's something I've always done. And when I was younger, I wanted to be a photojournalist. So, there's a lot of issues that are very important to me. There's a lot of things that I have learned and saw since I've been a truck driver with women and the training, parking, a lot of issues that are important to me. There's a lot of things I've heard and seen that I think people need to know about. There's a lot of important issues out there that don't get the spotlight that they need. There's a lot of wonderful, unique stories that people have that don't get the attention and spotlight that they deserve. And I thought, it'd be great to bring all that together and give everybody a voice. And get those issues out and get those stories out. And that's what I set out to do.
Right. Yeah, and when I saw you, like I said, I discovered you on TikTok. But when I saw that you started doing the podcast, that's when I really reached out to you. I think I reached out to you one time before that.
Mhm.
But anyway, long story short, your premise of why you did your podcast is kind of the same as ours. That's what we started this show on, is we want to hear the stories of how you got into trucking, some of the trucks that you drove, some of the experiences that you had out there. And then we also, like you said, we like to share information about the industry and what's going on with the industry, because, hey, I can remember whenever I was running some local stuff, I didn't have air conditioning in my truck. I was so glad when they mandated that you had to have AC in your truck for some of those local P&D. And Steve knows what I'm talking about.
I couldn't imagine not having AC.
Yes.
Wow.
Back in 1995, yes, I run a truck and I run a local route with no AC. And yes. So,
Yep. No AC, no power steering. Steering assist,
I can't even drive a pickup without power steering. So I don't know how I would drive a semi without it.
Oh, well, hey, what's your opinion on automatics versus standards?
I can drive both. And so I'm very pro manual for backing, absolutely, more control. But with the advances in technology, the car manufacturers can't do the advances with manual transmissions. So you're either going to have one or the other. And with the technology age that we're in, technology is ruling. So having said that, we're going to see less and less manual transmissions moving forward, to the point where they'll probably be obsolete,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and Steve and I was talking about it. He and I both have 2025 trucks, and we got some of the latest technology on the trucks that we drive. And I'm not going to name the manufacturer of the truck, but smart truck, wow. And some of it I like, some of it I don't.
Mhm.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, like me and Tim talked about it, that's what I call it, a smart truck.
Mhm.
It's
It
a
is.
smart truck. It knows what to do before I do it, and I've got to get accustomed to that. Uh, I can't drive the truck anymore. I've got to let the truck drive itself, and I just basically stand there and navigate it. And I got to learn the features, and I'm not complaining about some of these features at all. I mean, they're a good deal. So back on, you said you can drive both. When
Mhm.
you got your CDL, you're not listed as an automatic only then, are you?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and I don't recommend that for any driver, actually. When people ask me when they go to school, oh, they're only offering automatics or this, I said, don't limit yourself. Because, I still know of jobs that are only manuals.
Right,
Companies, good companies, smaller companies, that are only running manual only trucks. So
right.
So Tammy, what are some of the advances in technology in the trucks that you like?
I like the APUs and the new so I really I don't like the lane departure system. I'm gonna put that out there. And I don't like the braking system. I think it's more dangerous than good, but I like the system that adjusts for the speed of the vehicles in front of you. I like that alert system.
Hmm.
I even like that in personal vehicles. They've started putting that in cars. And I think that is a great feature. Um, the problem with some of these truck features, though, is that they're startling. And if you have a newer student, a newer driver that startles easily, I think it causes them to overreact.
Yes.
You have the alerts on the side.
Hmm.
So if there's a car, if you turn your signal on and there's something in a lane next to you, and some of them are very loud. And I've seen, as a prior trainer, I've seen people jump when things happen, and then their reaction tends to be a little iffy sometimes. So it can be a little bit more dangerous than safe.
Yeah.
Right. I jump. I've got 30 something years in the industry altogether, and when that truck brakes on its own, and I was actually spacing myself out between me and the truck ahead of me, but it caught the brake before I could.
Or a shadow, certain times of the day when the shadows from the overpasses, and it's like, whoa, there's nothing there.
Right.
And
Right.
don't ask me why they do it. I guess they get big and brave, and they go flying by you in the hammer lane. And as soon as they get past you, they jump over, and instead of continue motion, they lift. And when they
Mhm.
lift, that smart truck picks it up and starts applying the brake. And I don't mean easy. I mean it applies the brakes. And
Right.
that's something that you got to pay attention to. And you can't be lollygagging. You can't be looking over here, this old boy taking the beans out of the field or something like that. You got to be paying attention, because when that car comes in front of you, invariably they will lift.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I got out of the way, so now I can slow down. You know,
Right.
and they just lift and then get back in it. They'll come down a ramp, it'll pick it up. I had a guy today getting off the ramp at the truck stop, flatbed past me, come over, leaving plenty of distance. He's off the ramp. The truck picked it up and applied the brakes. And I wasn't ready for that. I mean, everything was under control. There's nobody around me or anything, but I wasn't ready for that. And that's why I say it's a smart truck. It's almost smarter than what we are. You know,
Right.
and that just kind of something I get used to. But
So, okay, I don't know how much research you guys have done with autonomous trucks, but there's 5 levels to before you're fully autonomous, right? Level 5 is fully autonomous. Most of the trucks right now, 2024 is 2025, with those are level 2. So they're getting us prepared, right? So it's like graduating, pre-K, kindergarten, grade school, junior high, high school, right? So we're graduating through the steps as they prepare our trucks to be fully autonomous.
Right. All right. Let me go back to that.
Around here.
Yeah, I did. I was trying to get your website up, but I'm going to leave it just like that, like on that format there. Okay. Some of the guests that you've had on your show, do you want to talk about some of them? And
Yeah.
let me ask this question: what's the most memorable guest so far that you've had?
Well, everybody loves Brittany. So Brittany was my first guest, and I got a little bit of slack from that, but I love Bree's story. So if you're not familiar with Brittany Richardson, she was over the road for a few years, and she was very public about it. She has Bree TV. She was on the socials. She was driving for, I believe it was RTI. Had the big pink truck, and she was everywhere.
I know who that is. Yeah.
Yes. So she was my first guest, and I used her for that reason, her story, because, social media is a very big presence in our lives, and it's getting, more and more over consuming. And so she was very public, and that experience, her trials, her tribulations, then what that publicity caused her, being that famous, and the backlash she got from that, and then to what she's doing now. So she was great. She can carry on a great conversation. She's very entertaining. She has a wonderful personality. I love her. She was great.
Yeah, I bet she has a great story too.
She does. She has an amazing story.
But I was following her too, and I know what you're talking about, because she, at the end of all that, there was some scary stuff going on there.
There was. And, just like our podcast, having to be careful, these companies, when you are a truck driver, if you are working for a company, what happens with you also affects who you work for. So that's also something that has to be balanced when you're in the spotlight.
Absolutely. And yeah, because you are out there and you are a public figure, and anything you do and can imagine can be used against you.
Yeah. And you still have a job to do in the midst of it. So
absolutely. Go ahead, Steve.
Now, are you recognized? I mean, like when you go make a delivery or something.
All the time.
Out the blue just recognizes you, and you're fueling your truck or whatever.
TikTok Tamie, I get that a lot. They'll be like, "Oh, it's Tamie from TikTok." So that's what I get more than anything is TikTok Tamie. So yeah, it's weird. Normally I'm like,
put a hat on, put some glasses on.
But I don't mind. I mean, people are pretty nice about it.
Okay, well, that kind of leads me into my next question, because you are recognizable. How is it being a female driver out here protecting yourself?
You have to be smart. So I don't like to fearmonger. So I grew up in an area. I grew up in California, half in California and half out here. So the area I grew up in, California, in a bigger town, kind of gave me the backbone I needed for trucking.
Right.
I think. So you can't be a victim and you can't be soft out here, but you have to be smart, and you have to have street smarts, right? So parking in well-lit areas is important. Keeping your doors locked, not getting out after dark, not inviting people to your truck. I know women who have been raped. I know women who have been mugged, who have been, attacked. And so you have to be very aware of your surroundings at all times, and never let your guard down, because that guy that you were in orientation with for that week, who is really nice, guess what? In 2 more weeks, he's going to be the guy that tries to rape you. So it's very important that you always keep yourself prepared and aware of your surroundings and make smart choices.
Yeah, I remember we interviewed Kaylee McCall on here, and she used to drive for Snyder, and she was a part of Women in Trucking. Matter of fact, she used to pull around Winnie, their exhibit truck for Women in Trucking. And I asked her because she was a small lady. And I asked her, I said, do you get bothered in the truck stops and all that? She said, I don't make myself approachable.
Yep. And a lot don't. That's a smart way to do it. Keep your head down, do your thing. So this is safe, right? So you are by yourself, but you're interacting socially, which is a safe environment to interact. But like you said, when people recognize me, where's that line? I'm fortunate enough as I get older, I think my risk factor lowers just a little bit, but um I'm okay with that.
Steve's
But
got
yeah,
that.
you do have to be careful.
Steve has that problem too. He has, all the time. He has to beat people off of him all the time, right, Steve?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But I mean, that's got to be tough because you are getting recognized on your podcast and stuff. And, some people will standoffish and say, hey, are you so-and-so that does, this? And then some people are just friendly. They don't mean to be like they're attacking you, but they're just up close and personal. They're just super friendly. And I guess you got to keep your guard up for somebody that's just super friendly or somebody that's super friendly got with intentions is what I should say.
So I've learned with people, when you deal with them, it's always the quiet, sneaky ones that are the worst. I mean, normally the people that are, louder or more aren't generally as much of a threat in my experience. There may be a serial killer out there right now who's loud and all about that. I'm sorry, you're the 1% here, but there's a lot of people that are friendly. I have a lot of male friends. And I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had the bad experiences that I know of. But there are people who portray that they're your friend and their intentions are not good. So you have to be very careful with that. And you have to set some kind of a line with your interaction. So a big rule is not to let people in your truck.
Yeah.
If somebody approaches your truck, don't unlock it. Crack the window. You don't want to give them access, right? So always protect yourself above all else. You may know this person in this controlled environment, but you don't really know that person.
Exactly.
So, and you have to keep that in your mind at all times.
Right. I'm going to open up the phone lines now, and if anybody wants to call the show, you can call the show at 251-616-2151. If you got any questions for Tamie, we would love for you to call the show. We're going to leave the phone lines open until the end of the hour here. And but hey, can you believe we've been on the air already 45 minutes?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it just goes by so fast. But I would like to hear from some of the listening audience tonight. I'm going to actually put the smaller number up there so we don't cover you. Every time I put something up there, it covers you up, Tamie. I'm sorry. So I'm going to put that number up there, 251-616-2151. Y'all call the show if you got any questions there. All right. So what's your future plans? How far do you see yourself taking your podcast?
Oh, we're taking it. So, yeah.
Is it a weekly podcast, a daily podcast? What is it?
I haven't had a set schedule, so it's been really hard to set a podcast schedule. And I know, with being an over-the-road driver, my days off were rotating. So I'm going on a set schedule here next week. So hopefully now I can actually set a set every week. I am going to be getting more active in advocating for different issues in the trucking industry, with parking, with safety, with some other things. I've been spending a lot of time researching and getting some background information. And I'm going to be getting involved with some of that, which I'm really looking forward to. And really giving everybody a voice on their experiencing, because we can't have change if people don't understand the changes that need to be made, and truckers aren't putting the information out there. Anytime changes come, it's only a select few, and the megas are making all the decisions, right? When it's the little people that actually need to get their voices out there. So that's what I'm going to be working on, is having all those little voices putting in their input and their experiences, and from their side, their story, the real life factor.
Gotcha. I was just wondering, how you get your guests sometimes. Is it just like I send a message to them like I did you, or do you actually see them at some of the places that you stop and fuel or eat or something?
A few of them, like Brittany, I reached out and said, "Hey, I know your story. I would love to have you, be a guest and to share that. This is my vision. Is this something that you would be interested in?" And then, yeah, we go from there. So I want to attract more women into our industry, and to do that, I have to show women that are in our industry how they got in here, their struggles, what they went through, how they overcome it, and their success. So, and that's what I'm working on with that.
And speaking to that, and you go ahead and tell the listening audience, to your audience, to our audience, to the industry isn't what people perceive it to be. These
No.
truck drivers that have to run out like 3 or 4 months at a time. Speak to that real quick, like.
So, I like to set expectations for people. And there is a problem with this, because I see a lot of women come out here and they say, "Oh, I was told I could have a home daily right off the bat." And that's not normally the case. Even in today's society, with the amount of jobs available, unless you live in a very high urban area, the facts of the matter are, no matter what, you have to do your time when you first come out. And the initial investment of your time, especially when you're training, is at least a couple months. And that's a couple months away from your home, a couple months away from family, kids. If you are a working mom, and that's hard. But once you get through that hard part, once you make that initial sacrifice and it opens up avenues for you, it's great. Well, it's not gravy, but it's more gravy. And it offers financial independence for women that we have never known until trucking. This job and this pay is 3 times more than what you'll make working in your local town, for the most part.
Right, right. If you don't mind speaking to that, as far as what you used to do and what you do now, what's the difference?
In pay,
Yes. I mean,
um,
you don't have to put a number on it, but kind of.
I mean,
Well,
I at least doubled my income when I came out here.
I got you.
And so, I'm in projection. I mean, with who I work for, I have good pay and good home time and good benefits. So I'm in a really nice spot right now.
Hmm.
With that. So, I have it. When I came out here, I sacrificed a lot of home time, um, to make money. And then I got my experience, and I was able to still make the money without sacrificing my home time.
Right.
So I have a lot more balance now. Not as much as you guys coming home every day, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Right. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's and that's one thing. Steve did it before. He did OTR before. I've never did OTR. I mean, I've driven across country with some of the other stuff that I do with the associations, but other than that, I've never, did a lot of OTR stuff there. I've always been LTL, and I've always, slept in my own bed. So, so to
I
speak.
love being over the road. I don't know
Yeah,
about you. I mean, I love it.
yeah.
Right.
Well, let's talk a little bit, and I know that we're closing in on the top of the hour here, so we'll go ahead and start kind of what Steve and I call the post trip of the show here. So we're going to start post tripping the show here. Speaking of, attracting women into the industry, what's some of the avenues or what's some of the things that you do to try to attract women into the industry besides your podcast, you know?
So personally, on my all my social medias, I've always posted my journey. I've always advocated for women. So I'm very active in different groups. So when women come in asking for, um, advice or anything like that, I always try to give them good, solid advice without scaring them. Um, and be gentle.
Gotcha.
Uh, so at home, I'm always advocating that the industry is a good one financially for people. Um, you- I haven't I have went to schools before and talked to and actually Fox Valley has asked me back at one time to speak to their drivers a couple years ago. So I don't know. It's a constant, just, sharing it. If you just share your journey and you share the ins and outs of your day, and so people know what they can expect and they see that, I think then they're more apt to follow that path when they see what it's like.
Yeah, I
Right.
think Steve's got something.
I'm going to kind of change it just a little bit. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You've been driving for 8 years. Have
Mhm.
you ever considered entering into the Illinois State Truck Driving Championship?
I did my first rodeo
Good deal.
last year. Okay, so I had never driven a Freightliner before. And so I drove a Freightliner and I did the rodeo at my employer, and it was fun. It was a fun experience. Um I don't know. I have one of my friends is in the Illinois one, and she does really good. And I think she represents us women well. And I love to follow her journey. I just don't think it's mine. I mean, I think if I went out there and, I wanted to, I could really rock the pre-trip part of it. But
Awesome. I need to talk to you to get some insights.
When you come to my employer, we have a mentor that teaches, that goes over their systems and stuff. And she used to like to trick me all the time and do stuff to see how good I was at my pre-trips, right, with tapes, because we are very active in the rodeos.
Right.
So I love that. But there's so many people that like to be active in it. I gotta leave something for them.
That's right.
There you go. There you go. I like that. I like that.
Hey, so Tammy, we did not ask you this, and you can speak in generalities if you want to, but family, son, daughter, grandchildren.
I have a big house. As far as that, I'm divorced, but I have 4 children, and 3 grandchildren, and 1 grand on the way.
Wow.
So yes, I'm very family oriented. I love my family. And I used to have a lot more on my social media, but we actually had somebody that was making some comments about videos that my grandson was in. So I've had to take that down just for safety concerns.
Right.
So which was very disheartening.
All right.
But it was creepy.
We are right here at 8:53. I'm sorry, 8:53 Eastern time. I do want to let you get some plugs in here. So where can they find you at? Can they see you at if they want to follow you? I'm actually going to put your website back up here. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So, as far as me on social media, TikTok, I'm under Tamie Sue, and you have to be careful because there's a lot of fake accounts following me. I have a little over 18,000 followers, so make sure if you're going to follow me on TikTok that you look for the one with the large amount of followers. I'm on the book. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, and X, and Threads. I'm on YouTube with Truckin with Tamie, our channel, and then I am on every podcast station. So I'm on iHeartRadio, I'm on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just look for Truckin with Tamie without the G. If you put it in your search bar, a list comes up to find me. So it's so amazing with the internet and Google and Yahoo. I'm everywhere. It still shocks me. And I have my own website. So, which is listed in the chat. So truckinwithtamie.com. I do my podcast is video and audio. So you'll find my audio on all the podcast directories, but my actual video podcasts are on YouTube. And then I do a blog and articles as well on my website.
Yep. She is everywhere, y'all. So
I am.
if you want to find her, just plug in the right information there. And if you're listening to me on the, on the podcast, on the replay and all that, I will put in the description when I upload it, her website there, if that's okay with you, Tamie.
Yeah.
And that way y'all can find her. So anyway, I need to figure out how to put all mine on Linktree and put it on TikTok. Do you have a Linktree also?
No, I've been trying to figure out how to do so I know after I can move it over shorts, but they really need to link it where I can stream on my TikTok.
Yeah, they do. But on Linktree, you can kind of put it under your TikTok, and it'll link to all your websites, your Facebook page, and all that. It's called Linktree.
Is that how they're doing it? That links, because I have, I know I had like a few different links posted on there, but not all of them. So.
Yeah. Well, you can actually go and plug in all your information on Linktree, and then you put your Linktree address on there, and then that way everybody can find out where you're at on Instagram.
All of them.
Facebook. Yeah. It's not really a streaming type thing, but it's just to let everybody know where you're at in one place.
Yeah,
so
that's the one thing with the podcast. I mean, once you get it out there, it is literally everywhere.
It's everywhere.
And I don't know who you guys use for yours, but it's so easy, so convenient that they do all that.
Yeah, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. So, and iHeartRadio is because of you, girl. I saw
really?
iHeart, and I started researching, and I started Steve, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? I got most of our episodes already uploaded on there.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because iHeart's one of my top ones. So I was just looking at my stats earlier, and unfortunately, YouTube has their own set of stats again, but so YouTube I'm pretty big with. Spotify, iHeart, Apple, and then direct my website gets a lot of traffic. So but Spotify and iHeart are definitely up there with that.
All right. Steve, any last questions? Because I'm fixing to get ready to shut this thing down.
No, I'm just I'm gonna start checking this out, because I just when Tim told me you was coming on, and I started doing a little checking, but I didn't realize there was that much detail. But
yes,
I just want to say thank you for coming on. You're welcome back anytime you like. Appreciate everything you do, getting the word out and all that. Stay safe. Please stay safe. I know you will. And we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
I had to get the audience in there.
Right. I will have to have you guys on my show, because there definitely was not enough time to get your interview in.
Right.
So.
Right. We kind of hogged the spotlight tonight there. We want so, but we would definitely love to come on and be a part of your podcast anytime.
Yes.
Anytime. Yes. So Tamie, we usually end the show with a word of encouragement and a word of advice as far as safety goes for the listening audience, and then we close the show out.
Oh, wow. Word of advice and safety. Always be aware of your surroundings. Well-lit areas are always best.
Okay. All right. Steve-O, what we got, brother?
Well, we still got weather all over the country, so everybody slow down, pay attention to what you're doing, look out for others, and look out for yourself. But like I always say, just remember the most important trip is the trip home.
All right. So y'all hang tight. I want to talk to you after we go off the air here in just a minute. But I want to tell the listening audience, be careful out there. As always, tomorrow is going to be a heavy travel day because it is leading into the weekend. And I've got to go up to the Big A tomorrow and do my deal. And I try to get out of Big A every time as fast as and safe as I can. But y'all drive safe. Y'all deliver success. and lead the way. Okay. And y'all, as I used to say all the time, look out for those who aren't looking out for themselves. We'll see you right here on Truckers Voices next week. Hopefully, we'll get somebody lined up, but we will see y'all later. Hang tight there.
Tim and Steve hit the highway bold and free, with diesel dreams rolling on heavy steel. Every mile is a tale they've got to tell. In the night, their stories start to swell. Truck stops light up with their laughter and cheer. On the open road, there's nothing they fear. Friends gather round, sharing thrills and strife. Life in motion, this trucking life. Hailstorms and endless winding lanes, old familiar tunes driving through the rain. Flat tire fixes under starry skies, fueling up on coffee fire in their eyes. Truck stops light up with their laughter and cheer. On the open road, there's nothing they fear. Friends gather round, sharing thrills and strife. Life in motion, this trucking life. Memories of highways inked in their mind, freight and friendship closer they bind.